A group of young men are climbing on the old cliff, enjoy the extreme climbing to bring them pleasure, but the road ahead is not very flat. There is often a gust of wind between the cliffs. If you don't pay attention, you will fall into this abyss. Among the few, the most feared person now is Kendi. He was afraid of heights, but for the sake of face, also to correct the secret of the girl, still participated in this action. They came to a canyon. Both sides are cliff. This feeling of loss makes them a little panicked. In front of a few people is the Devil Iron Lock Bridge. This bridge is made of wood and steel. Connect the two cliffs and it's very narrow, but that's how it makes countless adventure lovers obsessed. A group of people walked over excitedly. Now only Kendi can't move this shaking wooden bridge for him. There is no difference from the lock bridge. As you go further and further, his heart is getting more and more panic. Now Kendi's feet are soft. The head is also starting to get dizzy. Fortunately, Mimi came over to encourage him to move forward. Even if you are scared to death, you can't embarrass yourself in front of your girlfriend. In the end, Kendi still followed the hard steps. Soon, everyone ran to the opposite side. Now, there is only Xiaoli left. Suddenly, a few people found that there was a problem with the steel cable. The rope began to break. The wooden board under his feet also began to tilt. Xiaoli walked on it with great difficulty, but the wooden board still turned sideways. He was hung up by the steel wire. Suddenly, the solid iron wire fell off. The whole wooden bridge collapsed directly. The situation is in danger. Afraid of Xiaoli caught the steel wire, but the steel wire can't last long. Kendi immediately threw the rope to him. A group of people began to pull the rope back and forth. Kendi pulled Xiaoli in a blink of an eye, finally saved him, but their way back was also completely sealed. Now we can only take advantage of the dark, go down the cliff in front. Who knows? There are more dangerous things waiting for them in front. A group of people climbed the mountain with difficulty. Their hearts are really panic, but the steel wire in front has broken. Now a few people are trapped in the middle of the mountain. Kendi and Xiaoli decided. The two of them climbed up first, fixed the rope on the top. Now Kendi is shaking, grabbing the climbing rope. Guange next to him is still persuading him not to be too nervous because nervousness will consume his energy in advance. Just like Guange thinks, the more scared it is, the more comfortable it is. Kendi pulled the rope directly, caused him to fall in the air. The whole person has no strength. The two of them just came up, stepped on a beast armor. The intense pain made it impossible for him to move. Inevitably, Kendi had to let Xiaoli take the rope to save others. There is also a crisis in the trap. Guange went to help, but was pulled down by him. This made Kendi more scared, grabbed Guange dead. Fortunately, at a critical moment, Xiaoli threw the rope, then the three of them climbed up the rope. But something strange happened. Guange felt that there were people around. The iron chain next to the beast armor was also pulled. Soon, he was dragged into the jungle by a strong force. When they arrived, Guange was gone. He was the only one left on the ground. Xiaoli knew he wouldn't leave alone, because the beast armor can't be opened by the two of them. Now it's impossible for one person to leave alone. Kendi thought it was going to be dark soon. They have to go back and find a way to help, but this proposal was immediately despised by everyone. For this reason, Guange quarreled with Kendi. Suddenly, Mimi's feet collapsed and fell into the pit. This pit is a bit deep. Xiaoli decided to go down alone to check the situation, but he almost fell down. Fortunately, Xiaoli grabbed the rope in time, and this deep pit is actually a trap. There are all famous sparrows below. Mimi was also stabbed by a trap. Then they were all terrified. Obviously, this pit was designed by someone. Soon, the night fell. It rained heavily in the sky. The temperature in the mountains dropped. A few people were still looking for traces of their companions. Suddenly, Xiaoli was shot by an arrow. The arrow shot through his body. Then the poor man was dragged into the darkness by a mysterious man. When the three of them were drunk, they only saw a bow and a piece of Xiaoli's clothes. This is destined to be a windy and snowy night. Soon, the three of them found a wooden house. In fact, this is the den of the killer, Samart. A few people also saw the corpse of their companion, Wang, a good guy. Scared me. He didn't die, but it's still shit. The three of them were in despair. At this time, Kendi thought he should leave immediately. He couldn't get used to Guang's love for Mimi. He grabbed the bag with a heart. He kicked Guang into the basement and locked the exit. He ran away with Mimi alone. I just want to say, even if you don't have 10 years of experience, you can't do this. Okay, that's it. They turned around and met Samart. The terrible thing is that he's like a wild man. He gave Kendi a 3-hit. It's obvious that he's not Samart's opponent. He was hit all over the ground. At a critical moment, Mimi crawled up, but what didn't come to mind was Kendi, who was afraid, actually left Mimi. He ran crazily towards the jungle. Oh, you're really digging your own hole. Mimi and Guang were hung up. The two of them struggled hard. At this time, heavy footsteps were heard upstairs. It turned out to be Samart, who was dealing with Huangge's body. The two of them were in a panic. They didn't know what the devil would do to them. Then Samart went to the jungle to chase Kendi, who was running away. The two of them said that Samart was not there. Hurry up and pull out the shackles, although Kendi abandoned them. But the two of them still decided to go to the jungle to save him. Kendi's side. He's still running away in the jungle, and Samart is waiting for him to come back, waiting to guard his goal, then only to hear Kendi's voice. Poor him, he was still hit. Now Samart has caught up. The two of them immediately started a fight. He didn't have the experience of fighting. No way to defend. The helpless Kendi had to climb to the edge of the cliff, but he managed to slide down. Fortunately, he grabbed the ladder. At a critical moment, Guang and Mimi rushed over. Guang caught Kendi dead. But at this time, Guang remembered how he abandoned them. He was angry. In the end, he still let go. Kendi fell into the cliff. This short life is over. Mimi, on the ground, thought there was an accident, crying. But Guang didn't get lucky. Poor him, he was hit by Samart. Now there's only Mimi left. Anyway, his companions are all dead. He who broke out of the little universe. Angry, super thief. So it's good to mess with anything. Don't mess with women. Mimi used the rope to slide down the mountain. Just when he was halfway down, Samart, who couldn't kill him, stood up again and cut Mimi's steel wire. This movie is over. Director, you didn't leave any suspicions. It's a mess with the production. The plot looks hopeless. 5-star climbing section. The rhythm is great. I recommend you to watch the original film. Absolutely exciting. A large number of first-person camera angles increased the sense of immersion. Hands and feet look cold after the enemy appeared. Directly 3 stars. Use the Great Peach Sand mode to open the fog in the forest. Compared with the winding road, the shape of the village, Bukudao, and the triangle chain are all long. The only highlight is the 2 men. Jealous, don't change. French-type movies are really interesting. Fight scene. The dust is flying and the ground is rolling. Black blood mixed with mud. One by one, like 10 years without a bath. A man with a white face. All right, I'm gonna save the dog. Bye-bye.